Welcome back to Echo Ridge and another episode here in our Chaos Crew series. Today, we're going to take a look and see what players did to turn this into these amazing colonies. And the Chaos Crew community had plenty of challenges here on this Cirrus Minor planetoid. We're also going to get to see if they tackled the new geothermal point of interest, if they chose to keep the colony cold running things like mammoths and floxes, and did they come all the way to the top of the planetoid to seek out a better home, using what turned out to be a very distant from the starting location transporter. And unlike the last Chaos Crew Playalong that was not set and spaced out, the community also had a full star map to explore and exploit. So without further ado, let's check on our first colony. This first save, titled Yuki Tengoku, was submitted by Dr. Sheep, and as you can see, there's a pair of glorious monuments sitting in the dead center of the base, surrounding an anti-entropy thermal nullifier. Love the way this looks here. And my first thought when I saw this is only cycle 1641. And look at all the progress that was made, to include some frames per second savings using some tiles here on the edge. Either that, or they just really like to square in their base. The geothermal heat pump was tapped using 2 of the geovents. I also like the idea of keeping all this here vacuumed, and additionally having a maintenance corridor set up and saved in case the dupes need to get in here. Now in my Frosty Planet playthrough, I did tackle the geothermal heat pump, but I don't think my finished product was anywhere near this beautiful. We have 10 steam turbines, and they're all perfectly and geometrically sealed in. The third one is also sealed in using a similar style, but just off on its own. And here we also get to see one of the great things about this Cirrus Minor seed is the fact that it also has a volcano. And here Dr. Sheep has built a very nice tamer where they're gathering all of the igneous rock, absorbing as much of the thermals as they can out of it. In fact, the igneous rock is not allowed to leave until it is below 250 degrees, where it then gets cooled down even further to a final temperature of 30 degrees. I thought this was an awesome compact volcano tamer, and I've always appreciated being able to supply your colony with an infinite supply of igneous rock. Dr. Sheep did keep the majority of the planetoid nice and chilly, although there are some hot spots here and there. But all the duplicants live in this nice little setup here. They each have a nice little comfy bed setup with private bathrooms. There's a smattering of different foods available to include pike apples, plum squashes, and even sleet wheat. The only way they can leave is through these transit tubes here. Also on the home colony, we have a satellite being tapped for all of its radiation with a lot of radbolt generators. And then at the top of the planetoid, we see a bonbon farm with all naturally planted bonbons, a fully tamed spaceport to include an amazing little rocket port here, where all the heat from the rocket is being recaptured by these steam turbines. We have a nice supply of liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, and that one rocket was able to explore the vast majority of the star map. And oh, by the way, Dr. Sheep did manage to melt the inside of the rocket interior, so this might be one of the larger rocket setups you've seen. I, for one, have never seen a nature reserve inside of a rocket. Dr. Sheep did visit plenty of other planetoids, including the planetoid where you grab some niobium, and was even working on a nuclear setup here on the planetoid of Gupane. The dupes visited the Gassy Moo planetoid and paid a visit to the tree. And while I love Dr. Sheep's implementation and their sort of geometric style of building, Dr. Sheep wasn't even sure if his colony was worth submitting. Their initial goal was to do an all-achievement run, but in the end they had to prioritize their studies over their gaming. And so the fact that Dr. Sheep understood the real assignment, that life always comes first, I am extremely proud to be able to highlight their colony. Well done, Dr. Sheep, and keep up the great work. This next colony is a fun one. This is Marland, submitted by Tieft. And as you can see, all the duplicants live on a ship. In fact, they also work on a ship. Many sections of the colony were kept in their original cold state, to include the home ship where all the duplicants live, aptly named the Chaos Crew ship. Another fun aspect of this colony is all the duplicants are Maries. Well, almost. This is Marie Dopted, who many of you may know as the Hermit. Taking a look at the ship itself, not only is it beautifully designed, but you can see there is a lot of bathrooms here. The biobot is here, and although it is not connected and it is currently disabled, still makes for an interesting add into a colony. Their oxygen is being supplied from some oxalate sconces here, and the bottom of the boat is filled with alveoveras. And just because it's a ship doesn't mean that the dupes have to live in squalor. They all have beautiful bedrooms, some soda fountains, some tea stations or espresso machines depending on if you use the mod that I do, and additionally, plenty of saunas. Love a couple of the blueprints that Tieft has to include the cafe print and this nice little Southwest mosaic design being utilized in the bedrooms. All the usual suspects from the Frosted Planet pack are here to include the spigot seals, the mammoths, and the floxes. The ship is also outfitted with a nice little museum where all the artifacts are set up. The geothermal heat pump was tapped, and all 3 geovents are inside the bottom of the industrial ship. This just makes me smile. It's designs like this that make me realize that no matter how good I'll get it, oxygen not included, I will never be able to come up with some beautiful designs that I've seen during the course of this series. Tieft did manage to tame this volcano and turned it into a beautiful petroleum boiler. And just like Dr. Sheep, Tieft also uses the infinite liquid setups where they have, I'm going to try this one out, 4,518,000 kilos worth of petroleum in every single tile. And I'm sorry, Tieft, I just have to see what this looks like. So we're going to deconstruct just a couple of walls here, you know, for the funsies. I'm kind of curious to see if it'll end up filling up the entire bottom part of this map. Of course, if that doesn't, we could just uncork the liquid sucrose. I've always loved these setups, but just like the rest of this colony, Tieft made it look just a little bit better. We have a pair of beta hives feeding 5 Saturn critter traps, which supplies the colony with plenty of hydrogen. This is the only sign that I couldn't read very well. I wanted to think it says mushy green. Let me know down in the comments below what your guess is on what this says. And Tieft, if you could leave a comment letting everybody know what it says, I'd appreciate it. We also have another satellite being tapped for its radiation, utilizing some radbolt chambers to control the flow of the radbolts. We have another bonbon farm set up here at the top of the planetoid. And over here on the right side, we have the enclosed telescope and a trio of hydrogen rockets, with apparently the world's strongest ice maker. My favorite part of the world's strongest ice maker is the fact that it was built around a point of interest building. The 3 rockets are the Starlight Glimmer, the Kazua, and the Primogenitor. And what I like about these rockets is, well, they have different setups. This is a 1-dupe rocket, and the other 2 are able to house 3 duplicants. And in the 2,178 cycles that Tieft spent in Marland, every last tile was explored on the star map, and the temporal tear was even opened. Plethora has a full colony, Zapera has a full colony, to include a nice little monument for Marianji, who didn't quite make it. I mean, even when Tieft kills a dupe, it looks better than when I do it. The gassy Moo planet was visited. Frigazon was fully colonized. The Angry Tree planet was, well, exploited for every last bit of its resources. And here on the water planet of Socorrista, to go with the pair of ships, we have a beautiful little submarine. And for the record, there's still 500,000 kilos of petroleum here in this area, and it's spreading out kind of nicely. I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that this is one of the most fun colonies I've ever seen, so thank you so much to Tieft for sharing it with us. I sure do hope I'm pronouncing that right. This next colony is Frosty Chaos, submitted by Foxy Meadows. I see what you did there. And is another representation of how completely jealous I am of people with artistic talent. Look at this gorgeous colony. It looks like Foxy Meadows uses the Natural Tiles mod and was able to put all sorts of abyssalite in and around the colony. And the result is just a buffet for the eyes, to include a nice little sign with some flowers that says Foxy. Foxy was also able to take care of the geothermal heat pump, and once again made it look better than my own personal representation. There's a nice little industrial sauna over here, Utilizing natural gas as one of the power sources, there's a couple of ethanol distilleries, a molecular forge, and a pair of metal refineries. But what's awesome about this sauna is the fact that it's a cold brick. In fact, the entire starting planetoid was kept nice and chilly, just the way Foxy found it. And Foxy's implementation of just beautiful looking designs does not end with what we've seen so far, as here's a crashed satellite, utilizing one Radbolt generator. All of that radiation is being focused into that Radbolt generator and then sent right over to the Materials Study Terminal. And that is sitting next to an adorable Storytime lamp. I too want a Storytime lamp. Foxy preserved a lot of the bonbons here at the top. This is something I wish I would have done a little bit better in my Frosty playthrough, providing a place for those meteors to deposit the bonbon trees and then just upkeeping it. And when you do, you end up with a beautiful design like this. And when you're able to do that, you get a lot of beautiful nectar for no material cost to you. And the beautiful and simplistic designs don't stop there. These two travel posters are a part of the original colony's point of interest building, and Foxy was able to make use of it as a nice aesthetic room for the telescope. The living quarters for the duplicants are fully enshrouded in wood. They all have nice little private bedrooms, and most of them even have a pet Pip. I mean, look at the designs that Foxy was able to do with wallpapers. Absolutely stunning. There is a nature reserve in this living area, and it looks like the dupes are being sustained off of a backlog of 17.8 million calories, with the primary diet consisting of pike apple skewers. Similar to most Frosty Planet starts, Foxy is running the Alveo Veras and utilizing the carbon dioxide geyser to keep the plants fully supplied with carbon dioxide. The colony is also using Mammoths and Phloxes, and even the little Biobots. Hello, Peggies! The colony does have a rocket sitting above once again, a beautifully designed rocket port, and I'm quite certain there's got to be a story behind the fact that it's named the Metal Coffin too. Now, Foxy didn't explore too much of space, but it is important to note that this playthrough was the first time they've ever made it to space. But I gotta be honest, if you're gonna live on a colony this beautiful, why go to space at all? Well done, and thank you for sharing your beautiful designs, Foxy. And while we're only able to highlight a few colonies in the Chaos Crew video wrap-up, we also like to show screenshots from any person in the community who wants to recognize their colony. For those of you new to the Chaos Crew Play-Along who perhaps have an interest in joining next time, our next one starts this Sunday, December the 8th, where I will reveal the next Chaos Crew seed live over on Twitch. While the stream starts at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'll end up playing a little bit of Auction Not Included, and at the end of that stream, we will reveal the new seed. Whether you want to participate in the Chaos Crew Play-Along or just be a part of an amazing community, consider joining our Discord. And as always, a big thanks to Gabby Gabs and Queen Calero for wrangling all the logistical details behind this series, and a big thanks to the continued contributions from our entire community. I hope you enjoyed a look at all these colonies, and I hope you consider leaving a comment below on which one was your favorite and why. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.